My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Thank you all so much for joining me today in studying A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles this year. And I'm Forgiveness Willie, teaching forgiveness from the Ozarks. And we're ready for lesson 147. It's a review number 4 for Tuesday, May the 27th of 2025. And I'm recording this on the Saturday preceding that. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Okay, so how do we, the way that so many people think of forgiveness is that they think of themselves as being very kind and nice and overlooking something that someone really did to them that was offensive, but they're going to be nice and forgive them. That's not the kind of forgiveness that Jesus wants us to reach for. That might be a step in the right direction, but the forgiveness that he wants us to practice is where we dismiss it, whether they think they did it or not. It has no bearing on what they do. It has to do on what we're considering to be real and unreal. And if it's not loving, then it's an appeal for love. So you can forgive it because it's not real. And that's what we've got to learn to do, is let go of the belief that we're vulnerable, letting go of the belief that we can be hurt by anything, and recognize that everything that happens is for our good, and that nothing can ever can hurt us. Something might be able to take the body away, but that's not truly us. Surely you're starting to realize that. So anyway, so we want to perceive true forgiveness. Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Okay, so let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And then also, that was for lesson 134 review. Lesson 133 review was, I will not value what is valueless. We're not going to think that this world is our home. Jesus said the foxes have their dens and the birds of the air have their nest, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. He was talking about in this world. This isn't our home. This place can't satisfy us. We've come for a mission, or we've come to learn, one or the other, but this is not our final resting place. We're not home here. Now we can be home here because we realize that we're not only here, we're seated in heavenly places with Christ. Okay, so, and of course we want to keep in mind today, all day today, and for these 10 days, my mind holds only what I think with God. Can we say that? My mind holds only what I think with God. And we need to understand that that's our reality. What we think with God is what's real. Okay. Be sure to do your 2 extended practices, one in the morning and one in the evening. And then throughout the day, consider every hour of the day, tell yourself these three concepts. And if you can, take a moment of pause and reflect. But at least tell yourself, my mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Tree frogs are making a lot of noise today, aren't they? Had a lot of rain last night, and they kind of seem to get more excited about life when it's moist out. Okay, let's see. Let's go back and look in our text reading. We're in chapter 16. We're ready for chapter 16. The forgiveness of illusions. That's what we're forgiving, is illusions. That's what, when he says, let me perceive forgiveness as it is, he wants us to see that what we're forgiving is our perception of what we saw, thinking that we were vulnerable, or that attack was real, or that love, or that not love was real. We want to see that the only thing that can be real is what thoughts we hold with God. And that's the only reality. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Okay, well, let's take a look at true empathy, which is Roman numeral 1 under chapter 16. Okay, true empathy. To empathize does not mean to join in suffering, for that is what you must refuse to understand. Wow. So empathy is not joining in suffering. That's what we must refuse to understand. That is the ego's interpretation of empathy, and is always used to form a special relationship in which the suffering is shared. The capacity to empathize is very useful to the Holy Spirit, provided you let him use it in his way. His way is very different. He does not understand suffering, and would have you teach it is not understandable. When he relates through you, he does not relate through your ego to another ego. He does not join in pain. Understanding that healing pain is not accomplished by delusional attempts to enter into it and lighten it by sharing the delusion. Paragraph 2. The clearest proof that empathy, as the ego uses it, is destructive lies in the fact that it is applied only to certain types of problems and in certain people. These it selects out and joins with, and it never joins except to strengthen itself. Having identified with what it thinks it understands, the ego sees itself and would increase itself by sharing what is like itself. Make no mistake about this maneuver. The ego always empathizes to weaken, and to weaken is always to attack. And how come weakening is to attack? Because when you're attacking something, you're trying to diminish its value, its strength, its worth, and that's an attack. So so look what it says: make no mistake about this maneuver. The ego always empathizes to weaken, and to weaken is always to attack. You do not know what empathizing means, yet of this you may be sure. If you will merely sit quietly by and let the Holy Spirit relate through you, you will empathize with strength and will gain in strength and not in weakness. So he says, just sit by. Just sit by. Look what he says. Yet of this you may be sure, if you will merely sit quietly by and let the Holy Spirit relate through you, you will empathize with strength and will gain in strength and not in weakness. Can we just keep our mouth shut and only speak when we really know that the Holy Spirit has something to share? Otherwise, we just sit quietly by, knowing that we will be empathizing with strength and not with weakness. Paragraph 3. Your part to empathize, your part is only to remember this. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. Whoa, that's quite an idea. And it goes so along with our lesson for today. I will not value what is valueless. So what we're starting to learn is what the ego wants, what our separated mind wants from the Christ mind, separated from the Christ mind, is it has all kinds of things it wants, but none of them are going to be what you truly want. Your part is only to remember this. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. You choose neither to hurt it nor to heal it in your own way. You do not know what healing is. All you have learned of empathy is from the past. And there is nothing from the past that you would share, for there is nothing from the past that you would keep. Do not use empathy to make the past real, and so perpetuate it. Step gently aside, and let healing be done for you. Keep but one thought in mind, and do not lose sight of it, however tempted you may be to judge any situation, and determine your response by judging it. Focus your mind only on this. I am not alone, and I would not intrude the past upon my guest. I have invited him, and he is here. The Holy Spirit you've invited, and he is here. I need do nothing except not to interfere. Let the Holy Spirit's will be done in your brothers and sisters. True empathy is of him who knows what it is. You will learn his interpretation of it if you let him use your capacity for strength and not for weakness. He will not desert you, but be sure that you desert not him. Humility is strength in this sense only, that to recognize and accept the fact that you do not know is to recognize and accept the fact that he does know. You are not sure that he will do his part because you have never yet done yours completely. You cannot know how to respond to what you do not understand. Be tempted not in this, and yield not to the ego's triumphant use of empathy for its glory. And when we close at the end, when we sing our song, we'll include this italicized portion as well as a little bit more. We'll say, keep but one thought in mind and do not lose sight of it. However tempted you may be to judge any situation, focus your mind only on this. I am not alone, and I would not intrude the past upon my guest. I have invited him, and he is here. I need do nothing except not to interfere. True empathy is of him who knows what it is. Your part is only to remember this. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. Okay, let's pick up in paragraph 6. Well, let's go back and look at paragraph 5. Maybe that's actually where we're at. Paragraph 5. The triumph of weakness is not what you would offer to a brother. And yet you recognize no triumph but this. The triumph of weakness is what we're recognizing. We've got our value systems upside down, turned around, kind of contorted. The triumph of weakness is not what you would offer to a brother, and yet you recognize no triumph but this. This is not knowledge, and the form of empathy which would bring this about is so distorted that it would imprison what it would release. The unredeemed cannot redeem, yet they have a redeemer. Attempt to teach him not. You are the learner, he the teacher. Do not confuse your role with his, for this will never bring peace to anyone. Offer your empathy to him, to God. Offer your empathy to him, for it is his perception and his strength that you would share. and let him offer you his strength and his perception to be shared through you. Paragraph 6. The meaning of love is lost in any relationship that looks to weakness and hopes to find love there. The power of love, which is its meaning, lies in the strength of God that hovers over it and blesses it silently by enveloping it in healing wings. Let this be, and do not try to substitute your, in quotes, miracle for this. In other words, you can want something that you think that you can pray for, and you think that you need that miracle. But what you want to do is just recognize that the Holy Spirit will always answer the prayer of our heart, and we want our heart to be in alignment with what's valuable, what's true, and just let healing be. The power of love, which is its meaning, lies in the strength of God that hovers over it and blesses it silently by enveloping it in healing wings. Let this be, and do not try to substitute your miracle for this. Let this be. And do not try to substitute your miracle for this. I have said that if a brother asks a foolish thing of you, to do it. But be certain that this does not mean to do a foolish thing that would hurt either him or you. For what would hurt one will hurt the other. Foolish requests are foolish merely because they conflict, since they always contain some element of specialness. Only the Holy Spirit recognizes foolish needs as well as real ones. And he will teach you how to meet both without losing either. Isn't that nice to know? That he's going to help us to meet even our foolish needs, the needs that are transient, that'll pass away. But he knows that we to us they're important. So look what he says. Only the Holy Spirit recognizes foolish needs as well as real ones. So he implies there that foolish needs are the illusory needs. And he will teach you how to meet both the real needs and the unreal needs, without losing either. This isn't the path of sacrifice. Paragraph 7. You will attempt to do this only in secrecy. And you will think that by meeting the needs of one, you do not jeopardize another because you keep them separate and secret from each other. That is not the way, for it leads not to life and truth. No needs will long be left unmet if you leave them all to him whose function is to meet them. That is his function and not yours. He will not meet them secretly, for he would share everything you give through him. That is why he gives it. What you give through him is for the whole sonship, not for part of it. Leave him his function, for he will fulfill it if you but ask him to enter your relationships and bless them for you. So let's don't bless our relationships the way that our separated mind, our ego mind, thinks that we need to bless our brother, what miracles to call forth. Instead, let's just step back and let healing be. Let's let this last sentence, leave the Holy Spirit, his function. For he will fulfill it if you but ask him to enter your relationships and bless them for you. Have you done your part, which is ask the Holy Spirit to enter into your relationships and bless them for you? Okay, well, let's see. What's going on around the world today? And of course, let's keep in our mind today what? My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Okay, let's see. Out of holidays and observances, I found a few things, as well as I just a web search says that it's the Ascension of Baha'u'llah Day. So the Ascension of Baha'u'llah, a Baha'i celebration. And for some Buddhists, it's also Visakha Puja, which is again the death, enlightenment, or birth, enlightenment, and death of Siddhartha Gautama Siddhartha, who is the Buddha. Let me get it right here. Cellophane Tape Day, Gray Day, Nothing to Fear Day. Now that'd be a nice day to bring into every day, wouldn't it? To recognize that, wow, there's nothing to fear. As a matter of fact, I've got a story. I'll tell you about it here in just a minute, based on Nothing to Fear. Old Time Player Piano Day, Grape Popsicle Day, and Sunscreen Protection Day. I guess it's beginning of summer, kind of. Nothing to Fear Day. There is a scientist from Russia. His name is or was Vladimir Efremov. And I think his name also was Grigorovich. I heard both names, so I'm not exactly sure. So I'll put both in the description below. But there's a 7-minute video, and it's entitled A Physicist's Journey to the Afterlife. What he saw will shock you. And he was an atheist, like many Soviet scientists. He was one that was on the, I think it was called the Soviet Design Bureau, but he was a scientist that actually helped put Yuri Gagarin into space, first person to enter into space. And he had some kind of a problem come up, and he started coughing, and he ended up dying and was dead for 7 minutes, but he thought he'd been dead for years. I mean, it seemed like a long time. I don't know if he said years or what, but he was just amazed that it was only 7 minutes. But what he learned is that death continues, and that it's so filled with peace, it totally changed his way of looking at life. He was an atheist before. He woke back up 7 minutes later, and he realized that life goes on forever. He saw a lot of things. He had been working on a TV in his shop, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So I guess he just set it aside. But while he was in this space, he was able to see everything about the TV in perfect clarity. His mind was working in perfect function. And he even was able to intuit the people who put it together, what their feelings in life was about. But anyway, he saw the exact problem that was wrong with it, and realized that what to do to repair it. Anyway, after he got well, after he came back, one of the things he did was just to go check to find out whether he was just imagining all this, or whether he went to that TV, went right to the problem and repaired it. And it was exactly the way he had seen it. I thought that was kind of neat. But just the whole idea that he realized that we're not a body and that we survive death. And I thought that was pretty neat. So anyway, Vladimir Efremov, I think is his name. This was a Legacy of Being video on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description below. And then, so fear, there's nothing to fear today. That's what I'm trying to get you to realize, is that there's nothing to fear because we're not a body. We're free. We're eternal. Okay. And out of edible landscaping, we have another gooseberry. And it's the black velvet gooseberry, which is a Ribes grossularium. And it says in edible landscaping of the black velvet gooseberry, the deep purple fruits are the size of seedless grapes. They are very vigorous in growth. Flavor is very good to excellent when ripened on the bush. Black velvet has won awards for its superb qualities and disease and mildew resistance. Space 5-foot circles, zones 4 through 7. So there you go, the black velvet gooseberry. And our word for peace today will be from our Mongolian brothers and sisters on the Selinga River. And Mongolia is the Selinga River is one of the many rivers, but it's the longest and biggest river in Mongolia. And north of Mongolia would be Russia, and south of Mongolia would be China. Anyway, the word in Mongolian for peace, it's 2 phrases, Enkh, Taivan, or Taivan. So let's call it Enkh, Taivan. So Enkh, Taivan be with you. Peace be with you. Enkh, Taivan. Okay, and I think we're ready to close with our song. So thank you again for joining me today. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Keep but one thought in mind and do not lose sight of it. However tempted you may be to judge any situation, focus your mind only on this. I am not alone, and I would not intrude the past upon my guest. I have invited him, and he is here. I need do nothing except not to interfere. True empathy is of him who knows what it is. Your part is only to remember this. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. You do not want anything you value to come of a relationship. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And again, thank you for joining me. And there was something I did want to tell you. This big old plant with this big leaf, that's a burdock, giant burdock, the Arctium lapa, and it's been used as a blood purifier. I'll put the link to Zen Herbal in the description below. It's the Arctium lapa. Anyway, I wanted to mention that since I was sitting beside it. It was doing so well, growing here. And over here is my Jerusalem artichokes, looking nice. Anyway, so our word for peace again is Enkh, Taivan, out of Mongolian. My mind holds only what I think with God. I will not value what is valueless. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Enkh, Taivan.